Thank you. My question is for Petr Pavlas about the encyclopedic project. So it's fascinating that you put a date on the emergence of encyclopedicism in early modernity. There's an argument that encyclopedicism goes all the way back to the beginning of philosophy. So I think it's Diogenes Laertes that says that Xenocrates had classified philosophy in three parts: ethics, logic, and nature, which was later taken up by the Stoics. And you can see this classification project, as well as the various subcategories, which later became prominent in the Library of Alexandria as an encyclopedic project to classify all knowledge and thereby to sort of taxonomize and explore all knowledge. There's also an argument that goes all the way to the present, in that Wikipedia or the encyclopedia, the internet today, Google search engine, provides a kind of infinite encyclopedia. What I want to ask, however, is whether Leibniz is the endpoint of encyclopedicism today. Is Leibniz perhaps the culmination of this very Protestant movement to find a way by which, through the focus upon the word as speaking of Scripture, to capture all that can be known of the word in a written text? And in a way that's incarnational, because as it were carries through the process of the logos becoming flesh, that it's becoming material and immaterial as it's described, but it's also disincarnational in that sense that not all of what can be known of the logos or of divine wisdom possibly captured in a text. So what are the tensions here? Is this a failed project, or is it one that's still ongoing?
Thank you for this question. So to the second question first, it is still going. Yeah? It's an ongoing project to my mind. So, for example, thinkers like, I don't know, my favorite Pierre Teilhard de Chardin or others from today living, I think still continue somehow in the encyclopedic project itself. Those universal knowledge, universal science, open science, general education, all these ideas somehow are a part of the encyclopedic program, which of course has roots in not only in the Middle Ages but also in antiquity, as you said. But still, I think there is a difference. Pythagoras, for example, and Socrates, you mentioned, the ambition is this one, but the product is not written. Yeah, it is not embodied, not made flesh, so to say, not made body. Like letters, the papyrus, etc. Yeah, so yeah, that's my question. That's my answer, short answer.
Hello, my question is also to you. I was interested what you think of the 3, 4, 5 thing, and so 5 is there's a restricted there's a forbidden section of the 5 that's not included in the, and so I guess my question, like a clarification about that, and if it's 2 or 3, how it goes, but maybe more kind of conceptually, what do you think? You mentioned the tetrad is it has some kind of, well, your image, your symbol implied that it separates the book from the world, or something to that effect. There's some kind of abstraction to it, whereas, or it's more mechanical or something. And no, but the 3 is more dynamic. So I wanted to know, yeah, what are the conceptual differences?
Sorry, what is more dynamic?
The 3 you mentioned, that something is lost when you go from 3 to 4 in...
You mean those 5 books of Johann Heinrich Alstedt you are speaking now about, or about the logo of the Wikipedia with the sphere and the tome of...
well, when you were describing how it goes from macrocosmic, microcosmic, mesocosmic, book of to, I forget exactly how it went, but it was conscience, nature. You said about the 4 that there is something...
There were many schemes, some triadic, some dyadic, this was mostly, right. some how to say it, quadrupedic, what is it, quadruple or quintuple, yeah. There were many of these schemes, and yeah, and the question is on...
What is, because you mentioned that in 4, when it goes to 4, there's something lost in the 3. And I wanted to know what exactly that is, and also about the 5. What
there is something close in the sense that it's only in God. Yeah, those books which He creates, writes, but do not give to us for reading. They are somehow, as you said, forbidden or not accessible to us. Some of them, yeah. The Book of Providence, I think, the Book of Divine Judgment.
And you said life was the...
And the Book of Life, yeah, exactly, yeah. The Fate, we can say maybe, yeah. Yeah, that's it.
So, okay. So I wanted to thank all the three of you. I'm sorry, I only have a question again about the book metaphor. And you also partially anticipated a possible answer, I guess, but I wanted to go back to it because you just mentioned that the difference in the project of the encyclopedia was that some of them wanted unwritten encyclopedia, so somehow rational or only thought of encyclopedia. Others wanted an actual book. My question is, but how does this concept modify the metaphor itself? Because
how does it modify?
How does the change of the medium shape the metaphor? Because this was something that was remarked by Hans Blumenberg in Readability of the Word. He actually mentioned this, but as he always does, he just says this and goes on, and he says, yes, the book of nature for patristics is a papier, and then for others is just a book. So the metaphor itself means something different because the book itself is something different. There's a difference in in one of the two domains of the metaphors, but this also entails a difference in how the metaphor shapes the discourse. So I wanted to ask you, how does this work in your specific cases?
Well, I'm concentrating on early modernity. Then for me, it is really the printed volume. Yeah, but yeah, I read Die Lesbarkeit der Welt, of course, by Hans Blumenberg. So I know this idea, and I build on it a bit, or a lot maybe. Yeah, you are right that first it is, for example, stone tablet, then some sort of how is it, soil tablet, or then it is papyrus, then it is a codex. Manuscript codex, then it is printed codex. Now it is, what is it? Computers, I mean the hardware, probably. Yeah, it's embodied always. Yeah? The encyclopedia is embodied for the whole history of the cultural idea. It is not somewhere in the vacuum or in the air or the Platonic idea. It is cultural idea which is embodied. But to me, what I was interested in was 16th, 17th century, and to me it was just this printed volume, these early prints. If that is a question to your answer to your question, no? Yeah, later.
Thank you very much. I just have a small remark to this discussion about the encyclopedia. I thought that it comes, in fact, from the Encyclios idea in antiquity, which was the cycle of the liberal arts, which was rooted in Plato and then attested by Augustine and Boethius, and going through the Middle Ages. So I thought it is, in fact, a source.
Yeah, Quintilian in the 1st century uses it exactly in this way. And Varro, even earlier maybe, yeah, you are right, yeah, thank you.
But my real question goes to Eriugena and Cusanus, in fact, if I may. It was very interesting, in fact, because the authors are splendid. My question is to compare them a bit more, because in Eriugena, we have this fascinating idea, God who creates himself in the world. So can you find any equivalent of this in Cusanus?
Yeah, thank you very much for your question. The short answer is no. No, not really. As elaborated as in Cusanus, as in Eriugena, no. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the words deification has been used twice, once by Peter, once by Khegan. My question is, can you clarify a bit what you mean by deification exactly?
Well, I mean, it would be just me to say deification would fit within the broadly, I would say, orthodox classical patristic account of theosis. I mean, I get the sense that this is the sources that Traherne is drawing upon, in the sense that the ultimate goal of created being is to be taken up into the divine life, insofar as, you know, there's that reception of 2 Peter and so on, by being partakers within the divine nature. So I get the sense that this is the tradition, you know, simplistically put, this is what the tradition that he's drawing upon. You know, for him, he has got the specific valence added to it, in the sense of that we're taken up into this circulation of we can say divine desire as well, and so that as to the degree that we also come to image the divine and this desire and delight in God's own nature, this is also part of the being made like God, desiring like God, and being satisfied and delighting in God's own nature. And so it's a Trinitarian account. It's refracted through some of the sources which I mentioned. I suspect Aquinas being one, and Pseudo-Dionysius possibly. So I mean, basically, I think that's more or less how I'm understanding deification, what he means by being deified. Was there someone else who mentioned deification?
So there's no difference between deification and theosis?
Well, I mean, being made like God. I mean, okay, so I'll have to double check to see whether he actually uses the language of theosis in his own text, the language of, but he certainly uses the language of being made like God, or made like into gods. So in that sense, it seems to fit the category of deification. Now, I suppose we can quibble about the different distinctions between theosis and deification. There's all a matter of terminological distinctions potentially between those. I'm not entirely sure if he's working with that sophisticated account between theosis and deification, although I just think that his account does fit within, broadly speaking, what we would call deification. So yeah.
Do we have any more questions? We still have a bit of time. So, if not, thank you very much once again for your speeches and papers.